Welcome to the Board of Administration open session meeting. I'm going to wait for just a second. We got people walking around. But our first order of business is to call roll. Do we have Kevin on the line? Okay. All our votes are going to be roll call votes.
Teresa Taylor.
Here.
David Miller.
Here.
Lyndon Paquin for Malia Cohen. Frank Ruffino for Fiona Ma.
Present.
Lisa Middleton. Nicole Griffith for Irena Ortega. Jose Luis Pacheco.
Present.
Kevin Palke.
Good morning.
Ramon Rubalcaba.
Present.
Yvonne Walker. Melissa Willett. Dr. Gail Willis.
Excused. All right, thank you, everybody. So next order of business, I've asked Ms. Middleton to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Middleton. So good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. I had to text my husband because I forgot. Fortunately, I have everything. I just forgot to wish him happy Valentine's Day. I want to go on and congratulate our colleagues who have been elected to serve as chairs and vice chairs of our committees that met yesterday. So congratulations, everyone. So, of course, we look forward to working with all of you throughout the year. The elections for the chair and vice chair of our investment committee and our pension and health benefits committees will be held next month. And this morning, I do want to take a moment of personal privilege. I have the honor to recognize one of CalPERS' longest-serving team members, Anthony Sweeney. Where'd he go? There he is. Anthony has been part of the CalPERS family for 36 years. His extensive career began at CalPERS in 1994 after serving as a student assistant while attending Sac State. He has had a successful career rising through the ranks at CalPERS to be appointed our Deputy Chief Officer for Customer Service and Support 3 years ago, leading a team of more than 900 employees who serve our members, retirees, and their families. Anthony is known for his passion for providing outstanding customer service, his support of many charitable campaigns, and his humor and antics that often involve some wild costumes. He's not retiring. He's leaving us for our sister pension fund, CalPERS, to help them with their pension solution technology projects. So congratulations on that. We're very happy for you. CalPERS is CalSTRS is very fortunate to have Anthony, and I know that you'll bring the same commitment and passion to your work as you did with us. So again, congratulations. Can you please join me on stage? Funny, we ran into each other in the parking lot today.
You didn't say anything.
I said nothing. I know we signed it. So I'm very honored to present you with this, and I'm going to read this for you. Let me stand a little closer. Whereas Anthony Sweeney has had a long and distinguished career with the California Public Employees Retirement System for 36 years, and whereas his extensive career began at CalPERS with permanent service in 1994, that's when I started, after serving as a student assistant while attending California State University, Sacramento, whereas Mr. Sweeney most recently served as Deputy Executive Officer for Customer Service and Support leading a team of more than 900 employees who serve the system's members, retirees, families, and whereas he held many leadership positions during his tenure, including Chief of Retirement Benefit Services, Assistant Chief of Member Services, and Project Manager for CalPERS Pension System Resumption Project, now known as My CalPERS. And whereas he has amassed more than 30 years of experience in the planning and administration of retirement benefits and has a strong understanding of California's pension policy and laws. Hold on. This is covering it. Whereas he has brought to the job a passion for providing outside customer service, strong relationships with all stakeholders, and the genuine kindness and care that has made him successful in his career. Let me move back up. Whereas he has brought to the job a passion for providing outstanding customer service, strong relationships with all stakeholders, and the genuine, I did this already, didn't I? Whereas Mr. Sweeney was a leader and staunch supporter of CalPERS efforts with the March of Dimes, Run to Feed the Hungry, Susan G. Komen, and the California State Employees Charitable Campaign, Our Promise, and whereas his humor, smile, and costumes will be sorely missed. Now, therefore, it be resolved that CalPERS Board of Administration, individually and as a body, express our sincere appreciation to Anthony Sweeney for his many contributions, outstanding service to the system, and extend our sincere best wishes to him in the future endeavors. Congratulations. Take care. I'm so happy for you. No speech? All right. So again, I'm very excited for Anthony and his future endeavor. And right now, I'd like to toss it over to Ms. Frost for her Chief Executive Officer's report. Thank you. Ms. Frost, I'm not seeing any questions right now from the board. So I guess that means we'll move on to our action consent items. I've been asked to pull a couple of items, so we're going to vote separately on each one. So first, we need to consider 5A, approval of the November 16, hold on a second, and 2022 and January 17, 2022 minutes of meeting. So I need a motion. It's been moved by Mr. Pacheco and seconded by Mr. Miller. This will take a roll call vote. So all those in favor, please go ahead.
David Miller.
Aye.
Lynn Paquin, Formilia Cohen. Frank Ruffino for Fiona Ma. Lisa Middleton. Nicole Griffith for Elena Ortega. Jose Luis Pacheco.
Aye.
Kevin Palke.
Aye.
Ramon Rubacava.
Aye.
Yvonne Walker. Melissa Willett.
Okay, motion carries with one abstention for Controller Cohen's office. Our next is 5B, board travel approvals, and I need to add to the current that's listed for Ramon, let's see, let me make sure it's only the one. Ramon Rublicava for March 3rd through 9th, Washington, D.C., Council of Institutional Investors Spring Conference. So I need a motion for that. It's been moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Pacheco. I need a roll call vote. All those in favor?
David Miller.
Aye.
Lynn Paquin, Formilia Cohen. Frank Ruffino for Fiona Ma.
Aye.
Lisa Middleton. Nicole Griffith for Elena Ortega. Jose Luis Pacheco.
Aye.
Kevin Palke.
Aye.
Ramon Rubacava. Yvonne Walker. Melissa Willett.
Okay, motion carries. I appreciate it. And then finally, we're going to, I need a motion for 5C, approval of the February 14th, 2023 Board of Administration meeting agenda. Moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Pacheco. I need a roll call vote on that, please.
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma, Lisa Middleton, Nicole Griffith for Irene Ortega, Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Palke,
Aye.
Ramon Rubacalva,
Aye.
Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
All right, motion carries. All three items and 5 action consent items carried. Thank you very much. We will move on to number 6, information consent items. I have not had a request to pull any items. So with that, we will move on to agenda item 7, committee reports and actions. Hold on one second. And let me start with Finance Administration Committee, and with that, Lisa, oh, I'm sorry. You have a question? Yeah, later on. So, right, thank you. Ms. Middleton, I need your mic. And you have your report? Okay, there you go. Sorry.
The Finance and Administration Committee met on February 13, 2023. The committee held an election for Finance and Administration Committee Chair and Vice Chair. Lisa Middleton was elected Chair. David Miller was elected Vice Chair. The committee recommends, and I move, the board approve the following. Item 4C, approve the June 30 Judges Retirement System Actuarial Valuation Report. Adopt an employer contribution schedule that includes advanced funding of the judges' retirement system.
Okay, on recommended from the committee, action. All, any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor? Oh, we have to take a roll call vote. My bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma,
Aye.
Lisa Middleton,
Aye.
Nicole Griffith for Irene Ortega,
Aye.
Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Palke,
Aye.
Ramon Rubacalva,
Aye.
Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
Unless there is questions from the committee, and when can Ms. Middleton read them all, and then we can do the roll call vote at the end? All the motions. Thank you.
Thank you. Approve agenda item 4D, the Judges Retirement System 2 Actuarial Valuation Report as of June 30, 2022. Adopt the employer contribution rate of 23.58% and a member contribution rate of 16% of salary for members subject to the Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013 for the period of July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2021 for the Judges Retirement System 2. Agenda item 4E, approve the June 30, 2022 Legislators Retirement System Actuarial Valuation Report. Adopt the employer contribution rate of 0% for the period July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024 for the Legislators Retirement System. Agenda item 6A, terminate the contract between the agency formerly known as the Samoa Peninsula Fire Protection District and CalPERS in accordance with Government Code Section 20572. In addition, declare the Samoa Peninsula Fire Protection District in default on the effective date of the termination if the Samoa Peninsula Fire Protection District has not paid the amounts required under Government Code Section 20577 The committee received a report on, we will stop there.
Yeah,
and
please.
ask for approval. I will note that Michelle Nix spoke with Peninsula Fire Protection District and did not receive an affirmative answer to the apparent offer to pay the balance that was due and therefore is in fact in default.
So we've got these motions on the table. Hold on, I'm going to recognize Michelle Nix, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Michelle Nix, Acting CFO. I wanted to follow up on committee direction yesterday for the FAC, and I wanted to report that I called Troy Nicolini from Samoa yesterday and discussed options to continue the contract with Samoa Peninsula Fire Protection District. I believe we left the conversation in a place where he was giving serious consideration to paying CalPERS. After the phone call, I followed it up with an email offering the following. CalPERS will accept a wire of $300,000 to be paid towards the arrears amount by the time the board meets to discuss today. The district will be responsible for paying $15,231 by June 30th, 2023, which would clear the principal amount of the arrears. On July 1st, 2023, the district will be responsible for paying a revised monthly amount of $6,935.58. This was calculated using an amortization period of 15 years. We would also give them the option to handle any interest outstanding by rolling it into the 15-year amortization or paying it off by June 30th, 2025. We had some back and forth last night, and he had some questions about some ongoing payments for the 2024-2025 period. I answered those, and then this morning I received an email from Troy stating that he could not persuade his governing committee to stay in the contract. He asked me to relay that the situation is challenging for a small group of volunteers and that they intend on covering the retirees' benefits on their own. That concludes my
All right, thank
summary.
you. So as to the motions, any discussion on the motions? Hearing none, I need a roll call vote. For items, it was 4D through 6A.
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma,
Aye.
Lisa Middleton,
Aye.
Nicole Griffith for Irene Ortega,
Aye.
Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Palkey,
Aye.
Ramon Rubacava, Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
Okay, Ms. Middleton, if you want to continue your report.
Certainly. The committee received a report on the 2022 CalPERS Board of Administration state, school, and special retired member election results. The chair directed the staff to contact Troy Nicolini, board chairman of the Peninsula Community Service District, to discuss arranging a wire transfer of $300,000 to CalPERS before the full board administration meeting on February 14, 2023. Obtain a list of election services companies that include voter names with the voting platform that they elected to use. Explore the option to cure election ballots. In the future, election reports expand data to provide the top 10 to 20 cities. At this time, I would like to share a highlight of what to expect at the April 2023 Finance and Administration Committee meeting. The 2023-24 annual budget process, annual review of board member employer reimbursements, state and school valuation and employer-employee contribution rates, long-term care valuation report, semi-annual health plan financial report. The next meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee is scheduled for April 17, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Middleton, for your report. And thank you, Ms. Nix, for following up for the board. I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little questioning of whether or not, I think you said that they want to pay the benefits themselves. That's interesting. Okay. So that's, yeah, okay. Our next order of business up is Performance, Compensation, and Talent Management Committee report. And with that, I need your, thank you. Jose Luis Pacheco. Thank you, Mr. Pacheco.
Thank you, Madam President Taylor. The Performance and Compensation and Talent Management Committee met on February the 13th, 2023. The committee held an election of the Performance, Compensation, and Talent Management Committee Chair and Vice Chair. Jose Luis Pacheco was elected Chair, and Melissa Willett was elected Vice Chair. The committee recommends, and I move, the board approve the following. Agenda item 5C, revisions to implement previous board direction, compensation policy for executives and investment management positions. Approve revisions to reflect the recent changes approved by the board in November 2022 and January 2023.
On motion by the committee, is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we need a roll call vote on that.
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma,
Aye.
Lisa Middleton,
Aye.
Nicole Griffith for Irene Ortega, Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Pauke,
Aye.
Ramon Rubalcaba,
Aye.
Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
Thank you. Motion carries. Go on, Mr. Pacheco.
Thank you. The committee received reports on the following topics: the compensation review for statutory positions. The chair directed staff to work with GGA to bring back policy language related to regular presentations of salary survey results to the committee. GGA to gather feedback from committee members on composition of peer comparable groups for statutory positions, and GGA to bring back recommendations on addressing gaps in compensation for statutory positions. The committee heard public comments on the following topics: consideration to exclude private sector data in the comparator group for statutory positions. At this time, I would like to share some highlights of what to expect at the April Performance, Compensation, and Talent Management Committee meeting. The committee will review the compensation recommendations for statutory, the committee will review compensation recommendations for statutory positions. The committee will receive a report on the 2023-2024 incentive metrics for executives and investment management positions. The next meeting of the Performance, Compensation, and Talent Management Committee will be scheduled for April 17th, 2023 in Sacramento, California. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Next committee report is Risk and Audit, and for that, you have to push your button. Oh, I could have pushed it for you. Recognize Mr. Miller. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. The Risk and Audit Committee met on February 13th, 2023. The committee held an election for the Risk and Audit Committee Chair and Vice Chair. David Miller was elected Chair, and Lisa Middleton was elected Vice Chair of the committee. The committee received reports on the following topics: an update on the 2022 to 2023 Enterprise Compliance and Risk Management Mid-Year Plan, and the third-party valuation and certification of the 2021 CalPERS annual valuations of the state and schools' pension plans. At this time, I would like to share some highlights of what to expect at the June Risk and Audit Committee meeting. External audit fees, the 2022 to 23 annual compliance report, and the first reading of the Conflict of Interest Code amendment. The next meeting of the Risk and Audit Committee is scheduled for June 20th, 2023 in Sacramento, California. And Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Our next committee report is board governance, and for that, I'm going to send that over to Mr. Miller, the Vice Chair of Governance.
Okay.
You need it?
Let me
I have
Make
it.
sure I've got the right one in front of me.
Go ahead.
Okay. The Board Governance Committee met on February 13th, 2023. The committee held an election for the Board Governance Committee Chair and Vice Chair. Teresa Taylor was elected Chair, and David Miller was elected Vice Chair. The committee recommends, and I move, the board approve the following. Agenda Item 6A, approve the proposed revision to the board's scheduled review of committee delegations and the CEO's delegation from annually to biennially.
All right, on motion by committee, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote on it, please?
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma, Lisa Middleton, Nicole Griffith for Arena Ortega, Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Pauke,
Aye.
Ramon Rubacava, Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Miller?
The next meeting of the Board Governance Committee is tentatively scheduled for June 22nd, 2023 in Sacramento, California. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Okay, our next item is 8B, regulation for the definition of limited duration employment. And for that, who's coming up for that one, guys? Did we miss, the proposed judge, I'm sorry, skipped right to that. 8A, proposed judge, go ahead. Decisions of administrative law judge, go ahead.
I have a motion. I move to adopt the proposed decisions at agenda items 8A1 through 5 as the board's own decisions, with minor modifications argued by staff to agenda item 8A1.
Okay. On the motion, I will need, okay, I have a second on the motion by Mr. Pacheco. And all those, any discussion on the motions first? Okay, seeing none, I will need a roll call vote on that.
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen, Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma, Lisa Middleton, Nicole Griffith for Arena Ortega, Jose Luis Pacheco,
Aye.
Kevin Pauke,
Aye.
Ramon Rubacava, Yvonne Walker, Melissa Willett.
All right, motion carries. And with that, we are on 8B, which is proposed regulation for definition of limited duration employment. We have, there we go, Renee Ostrander or Anthony Sweeney, or both.
Both.
There you go.
Good morning, President Taylor and members of the board. Anthony Sweeney, CalPERS team member. Agenda item 8B is an action item asking for your approval to move forward with the regulations on defining the term limited duration to the Office of Administrative Law. And as has been customary during this process, Renee Ostrander, chief of our Employer Account Management Division, is with me here today to provide a brief summary of the agenda item. Before I turn it over to Renee, I did want to mention that during our meeting in November, when these regulations were last presented, Board Member Fechner requested we research the viability of charging employer contributions on retired annuitant appointments. We continue to conduct research on other pension systems policies surrounding retired annuitants, and we'll bring information back to the board separate from this regulation to determine what might be the pleasure of the board. I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose track of that item.
I appreciate it.
And not to drag this on any further, but one more comment I'd like to make before I pass this to Ms. Ostrander. As has been discussed, this will be my last board meeting after 30 plus years at CalPERS. I didn't plan this very well. We didn't have a PHBC for me to give any comments, so I have to throw this in during the regular board meeting. But although many of you are new, I just wanted to express my appreciation to the current and to past board members for always supporting me and our customer service mission, and for always recognizing the team that delivers on that mission. The executive team that I get to work amongst every day is fantastic. You have the right people working on this effort day to day, especially behind Marcy's leadership. I know you all know this, but she's fighting the good fight for this organization every single day, and it's been an honor and pleasure to work for her. And then to our CSS team of dedicated professionals, starting with the division chiefs I get to work alongside every day. They're amazing. And the leadership team. And not to discount the contributions of everyone in this organization, but these 800 some odd folks are out there speaking to retirees and members and employers, potential disability pensioners, beneficiaries, widows and widowers, and other parties interested in our benefits, trying to help them through this complex yet most rewarding benefit system. And our team truly deserves the praise for the amazing customer service that's provided day in and day out. And I had the privilege to start here as a naive 18-year-old, not with a passion for customer service, but because somebody owed my dad a favor to give a student assistant job too. But through the years, I've grown that passion for helping our membership and providing excellent customer service, and it's been an honor and privilege to work for this organization for so long. So
Anthony,
thank you for that opportunity.
Anthony, I want to also thank you myself, because numerous times my members have come to me for customer service issues that they need resolved for their pension or their health care or something, and you have always just jumped right to it, helped those members right out the gate, and once I hand it over to you, I know it's going to be taken care of, and I'm really going to miss that. And my members really always appreciate your hard work. So
Thanks, Teresa.
thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Renee to.
I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to follow that, but here goes. As Anthony mentioned, before you today is agenda item 8B, requesting the board to approve the proposed language for submission to the Office of Administrative Law to define limited duration. The proposed language before you defines the term limited duration in two situations. First, for retired annuitants, the statutes require the work to be of limited duration. In these regulations, we have defined limited duration to be 24 months with the same employer performing the same duties. For those employers with needs continuing beyond that time, they have the ability to utilize 2 one-year extensions, or if still needed beyond that, an exemption process. Or if an employer has a retired annuitant time limit defined within their MOU, that will define the limited duration up to 60 months. The second case is for active classic members receiving special compensation for working in an upgraded position or classification of limited duration. We have defined that limit in this situation to also be 24 months. After this board approved the modified language in November, the CalPERS team released the language for public comment for the first half of December. During the public comment period, we received comments from 19 submitters. Those comments and our proposed responses can be viewed in attachment 2. After reviewing the comments received, the CalPERS team recommended moving forward with the language originally approved in November with only non-substantive changes. The minor changes proposed, which are displayed in attachment 1, are for readability purposes only and do not require another round of public comment. With your approval today, we will finalize the remaining documentation and submit the package to the Office of Administrative Law. We expect that to be in early March. Once submitted to the Office of Administrative Law, they have 30 days to respond to the regulations. Should any changes be required at that time, we would bring the revised regulations back to you for review and approval prior to an additional public comment period. Once approved by the Office of Administrative Law, it is forwarded to the Secretary of State for publishing. We anticipate it could be as early as summer, but more likely this fall. As this process continues to move forward, we are planning for additional educational sessions for all of our employers, as well as written materials and communications as we get closer. This completes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Before we take a vote, we also have public comment, but I want any comments from the board first. Okay, I'm seeing no comments from the board. I do have public comment on 8B, so I would like Corey Honia to come up. And right over here. Yes, that's fine. And you'll have 3 minutes as soon as you introduce yourself too in the 3 minutes.
Is this on? Okay,
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Good morning, President Taylor, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And as a quick side note, as a member of PERS and future retiree, thank you for the work that you do. As I said, good morning. My name is Corey Honey. I'm the Sheriff of Butte County and the President of the California State Sheriff's Association. I'm here today to speak to you on behalf of California's elected sheriffs. And we're asking you to consider an exemption for public safety personnel when it comes to the definition of limited duration employment. This is a particularly challenging topic for the state sheriffs. And for that matter, I would submit to you probably police departments as well. Many sheriff's offices continue to experience significant difficulties in recruiting and retaining staff. Substantial vacancy rates and rising employment costs make it particularly challenging to fill necessary staff positions. In the interest of maintaining the public trust, having qualified applicants and employees, of which there are currently a shortage around the state, is vital. Sheriff's offices are seeing considerable numbers of resignations and retirements. Significant limitations on the ability to utilize retired annuitants to appropriately staff vital positions, protect the public safety, retain community trust, and conserve county resources are ill-timed and should not hamstring public safety agencies. The flexibility that the use of retired annuitants provides us is vital. Using retired annuitants provides the ability to have access to experienced staff who have already been trained in the disciplines in which they are being asked to serve. Sheriff's offices undertake many roles and often use retired annuitants to work at cold cases, complete background investigations, serve in specialty units that are intermittently staffed, like Marine Patrol, but perhaps most commonly to provide vital court security services. Given the dynamic nature of court proceedings, the lack of control sheriffs have over court calendars, and the statutory mandate that sheriffs provide court security services, retired annuitants provide many, if not most, counties with the ability to be as nimble as possible to meet expected and unplanned security needs of the courts. Many counties have been experiencing widening chasms between the funding that the state provides for court security and the actual cost of providing those services. And this is attributed to the rising labor cost in addition to new judgeships, capital improvements to court facilities, increased reliance on specialty courts, and a case backlog created by COVID-19 has made it particularly challenging for us. We again would urge you to exempt public safety agencies from the scope of this regulation. And I'll just add quickly, it is very challenging for us to find people who are trained to do these jobs, and it takes so long to get them there. Flexibility to serve public safety and community protection needs to be paramount, and we are concerned that the proposed definition of limited duration, even as amended by the recent modifications, will disproportionately impact the ability of county sheriff's offices to achieve those goals. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. With that, do I have any comments from the board before we take a vote? Okay. I do. Hold on one second. Ms. Middleton.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the comments of the county sheriff and would like to ask that staff be directed to consult with the Sheriff's Association and with law enforcement to investigate whether or not some accommodation would be appropriate I don't believe we should act on that without consultation with staff.
Thank you, Ms. Middleton. So, is either one of you, have public comments been made during the comment period by the Sheriff's Association or law enforcement in general?
Yes, we have received in the packet that you have in attachment 1, I believe it is, we do have the letter from the State Sheriff's Association
I thought I saw it.
expressing, these same concerns.
Okay.
We do, and then I can provide the feedback on that. So,
Sure.
So we have been looking at those comments to determine the possibility of reviewing it. The law does not allow us to, at this time, to review classifications differently. But I think the primary response to it is that we are understanding that employers can have issues with staffing and can have those concerns. And that's the reasons why those extensions and that exemption process is built in. So it is adequate for counties that have sheriffs that are a part of our system to be able to express that through the exemption process. And then, of course, after those 2 exemptions, that exemption does come forward to you, so you as a board would be able to review those concerns.
Okay, and I appreciate that. So that's 4 years, and then for the opportunity for hiring, and then in addition, you mentioned something about the law does not allow it to treat classifications. So is this an option for the Sheriff's Association maybe to take to the legislature as well, right?
If the statutes were changed that treated different classifications differently, yes. But currently the working after retirement statutes apply to all CalPERS retirees that then go back to work for a CalPERS covered employer.
Okay, and since that might not be a big stretch, Mr. Honea, because I'm thinking we already have miscellaneous versus safety retirement, so maybe that's something you guys can consider, because as I say in my profession, we don't write the laws, we just enforce the laws, so okay. There you go. So with that, does that suffice, Ms. Middleton? Okay. So now I need a motion. Oh, did I miss you? I'm sorry, Mr. Pacheco. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, first of all, thank you for your service and your appreciate this. I just want to understand this. So it's not in law right now, the exemptions or this process or whatever. They have to be brought back to the legislation and so forth. Can you just elaborate on that? Because I know that after we take the item to the administrative judges and they come back with either their blessing or whatever needs to be done next, will be another set of comments. Will there be another opportunity for that to be addressed, or we have to address this again
No,
this is it, right?
This is correct. This is the last time, assuming there are no comments from the Office of Administrative Law.
Right.
I would expect that they will have some questions. But yeah, so how the structure is set up is that the foundation of the movement that we're taking today comes from the working after retirement statutes for any of that post-retirement employment. And that's where the term limited duration is used for post-retirement employment. And so these regulations are defining that and putting it into a regulation that all CalPERS covered employers would be able to follow. So it creates a uniformity amongst all of our employers in the system.
All the employers, including now I get it. Now I understand. But then if you want, I understand now. Thank you very much for that clarification.
You're welcome.
So, and I just want to also add to that, I think, Mr. Pacheco, all we're doing is defining it, right? The law is there, we're just defining it. So, because it's too general right now. Before we take a vote, I have one more comment on the phone for this item. So, is it Mr. Fox? Oh, Mr. Takehart.
Good morning, Madam President. Yes, we have one call. We have Johnny Pena from the League of California Cities. Go ahead, Johnny.
Thank you. Good morning, Johnny Pena with the League of California Cities.
Definitely I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all regarding the proposed regulation here. I know we've been going back and forth on these comments for some time now, so definitely appreciate all of the different opportunities that are available to provide additional comment. Want to thank CalPERS staff for taking the time to speak directly to the League of California Cities and to our folks who are interested in these regulations. Explaining the new rules here is definitely going to be an ongoing kind of effort. I know that it can be a little complicated after the rules have changed, so definitely appreciate working with CalPERS staff to educate going forward. Wanted to also thank staff again for listening to public comment, taking our concerns into consideration, and making amendments to this regulation throughout the process. The regulations that we see before us today are in fact a vast improvement to the previous version. However, I must say that we are a little disappointed to not see that additional changes weren't incorporated into this latest version to address a lot of the issues that were brought up by a large group of employers in the latest round of the public comment period, including a few that Cal Cities has requested, including removing the 12-month limit to the window following the expiration of extensions to allow appointment exemptions to be requested after the 48 months have elapsed. Also, including a provision that states if the CalPERS board fails to act within the 60 days of the request, the exemption is automatically deemed approved. Additionally, there were a couple other clarifying changes that we wanted to see incorporated that were not. We feel that additional flexibility, of course, for retired annuitants would benefit local and state agencies, but want to make crystal clear that the changes that we see here today from the original is a vast improvement from the original. So thanks again for the opportunity to make a comment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna hope if anybody else has comment on this. All right. Ms. Ostrander, I heard that he had several recommendations. It sounds to me like that was all spoken about with him. Is that correct? That all of these extra things that they wanted was addressed?
That is correct. So the League of California Cities did send us a letter that acknowledged the appreciation of the changes that we did make after reviewing their initial comments, and then provided 3 additional items that they would like to have revisited. And so we did speak with them. We did look at those, but based on the totality of the regulations and the balance, we are recommending to not move forward with those changes.
So, and I think we all have to remember that there's a whole bunch of us from different governing bodies, and everybody has a difference of opinion on how this should be administered, I think, but I do appreciate all the work you guys have put in. I know it's a lot of work with talking to each and every different stakeholder on this, so I appreciate it. Ms. Middleton?
Thank you. As in anything, for those who are municipal and county employers, the crunch for trying to find the necessary talent to carry out our public responsibilities today is as challenging as it has ever been. And annuitant employment has filled in critical gaps over and over again. So I would like to thank Ms. Ostrander, Anthony, and everyone for giving us greater flexibility than we previously had. And that flexibility is very necessary. Did those who are municipal and county employers get everything that they hoped for? No. But this is substantial progress over where we were before. And I will be very proud to make the motion to approve this amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Middleton. It's been seconded by Jose Luis Pacheco. Any discussion on the motion before I go forward? Okay. I'm not seeing any, so could we have a roll call vote, please?
David Miller,
Aye.
Lynn Paquin for Malia Cohen. Frank Rufino for Fiona Ma.
Aye.
Lisa Middleton,
Aye.
Nicole Griffith for Arena Ortega. Jose Luis Pacheco.
Aye.
Kevin Palke.
Kevin, drop off.
Aye.
There he is.
Ramon Rubacava.
Aye.
Yvonne Walker. Melissa Willett.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. And again, thank you guys for the hard work on this, because we've had this in front of us for over a year, a little over a year. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to agenda item 9, which is our information agenda item, state and federal legislative update. And for that, I'm going to recognize Mr. Brown. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam President and board members. Danny Brown, CalPERS staff. The new state legislative session is ramping up with the new bill introduction deadline this Friday. It's likely that there will be over 2,000 bills introduced by that deadline, with at least half of them introduced this week. So far, the most impactful bill introduced is SB 252 by Senator Gonzalez of Long Beach. This bill proposes to require CalPERS and CalSTRS to divest from the 200 fossil fuel companies with the highest estimated carbon reserves. This is a reintroduction of the Senator's bill from last year, SB 1173, which the board did adopt an opposed position on. Last year's bill died after failing to get a hearing in the Assembly PERS committee. The new bill is nearly identical to last year's bill, and our team is working with the Investment Office to update our analysis on the potential impacts of the bill. We do know that the preliminary estimate of investment exposure for this bill is $9.3 billion. This is up from last year's estimate of $7.4 billion. We do plan to bring the bill to the board next month, and we should also have a much larger bill list to discuss. And with that, I'll shift to the federal update. On the federal side, it did take a while for Congress to get things going as we waited for the House to elect their speaker and to negotiate committee sizes. Hearings did start this month. With no surprise, there was a bipartisan focus on China, especially with the recent incident of downing the balloon. We can expect Congress to continue to focus on China throughout the year. We will be closely monitoring for any outbound investment screening or restrictions that might impact our investment program. We also expect partisan activity around ESG. The House Financial Services Committee has announced a Republican ESG working group, while the Democrats have created a Congressional Sustainable Investment Caucus. We will make ourselves available as a resource to both groups that are interested in tapping into our expertise. On the regulatory side, we have submitted 2 comment letters since our last board meeting. Back in December, we submitted a comment letter to FASB that generally supports their proposed improvements to public company disclosures. And then earlier this month, we wrote to the Federal Reserve on their draft principles for climate-related financial risk management for large banks. Both of these letters are on our website. With that, I will end my report and answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any questions? I know that we had some folks go to DC. Any questions or comments? Mr. Pacheco.
Yes, Mr. Brown. Thank you. I'd like to ask you a question about the Federal Reserve, the comment. When was that submitted for the climate change?
February 6th.
And are we at the beginning of the comment period, or is it still going on?
The comment period closed on February 6th, so now they'll be taking all those comments that they received should be posted on their website, and then our comment letter is posted on our website, and then they'll start the process of reviewing those.
Oh, I see. And at that point, they'll
put out
the regulations.
Yeah.
Very good then. Thank you very much for that clarification.
Mr. Rublicava, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And I also want to thank you and your office for coordinating the visit we did as part of the conference with Mr. Frank Rufino and Mr. Pacheco and myself. It was very impressed with the lobbying firm that we have over there, and we opportunity to meet with some of the elected officials. I also want to volunteer, Madam President, that since we adjourned early yesterday, we had opportunity, Ms. Bullitt and Mr. Pacheco, to also walk the Capitol, and we had an opportunity to at least talk to two of the members of the Senate side who are on the retirement committee. So just want to share more information with you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Well, thank you. I'm glad you found the meetings in DC productive, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to join you, but hopefully next time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I don't see any more questions from the board. We are now at summary of board direction because we're at the end here.
I believe we resolved Ms. Middleton's direction, but we can still have the team reach out to the Sheriff's Association and let them know how to interact with the current regulatory language. I think there's some options there for them. And then other than that, other than committee direction that was reported out through the various committees, I didn't record any additional direction.
All right, thank you. Ms. Frost, so at this time we are now taking public comment. And with that, I'm going to start. I've got 3 people in the room and 1 person on the phone. So I'm going to start with Mr. Lawrence Grossman, if you want to come down here. And we are going to allow your requested time. Okay. Just start by introducing yourself, and the time will go on. Thank you. Oh, hold on 1 second. You're not on. She's running back there. All right, now you're on. Go ahead.
Thank you. President Taylor, members of the board, good morning. Thank you for 5 minutes. My name is Lawrence Grossman, and I live in Benicia, California. I'm here to comment on the CalPERS long-term care insurance crisis. Permit me to be perfectly frank. If the CalPERS long-term care insurance program had honestly disclosed what it is, I believe no reasonable person would have bought a policy. But CalPERS has been extremely dishonest by not disclosing material facts, and it sold about 250,000 policies. The program has been implemented incompetently and is now a financial disaster, primarily of CalPERS creation. Yet CalPERS wants policyholders to pay for its failings, and to that end has broken contracts and risen premiums at times tenfold. That's 1,000%. The ongoing class action lawsuit, which the board has fought for 9 years, addresses only part of the problem. There remain earlier and later rate increases that are inconsistent with policy contracts, as well as damages caused by deceptive sales practices. This is why a public audit of the program is necessary. Likely you noticed that each candidate last year for the CalPERS board seat that Ms. Walker won emphatically stated during their debate that the CalPERS long-term care program is a failure or a debacle. This board has denied that, with staff asserting publicly that the CalPERS program simply has experienced problems which all commercial long-term care insurance companies have experienced. This assertion seems quite inconsistent with the facts and needs to be publicly examined. CalPERS has failed to follow its enabling legislation, which requires it to offer a commercial policy option in the CalPERS program if there is a program at all. But CalPERS decided to ignore the law because, as I have been told by former board members, staff asserted that the so-called self-funded option was far superior. Yet even if one believes the commercial option is less attractive, how is it possible to ignore the law? Why did CalPERS not let consumers choose? CalPERS General Counsel was asked that question in writing by a colleague of mine. The General Counsel had an associate respond who simply wrote that this is how the long-term program has always operated and there are no present plans to change it. Not offering a commercial long-term care insurance option means that the self-funded program did not have to compete with another policy that CalPERS endorsed. Competition would have let buyers see the crucial differences between a policy subject to Department of Insurance oversight and a self-funded one without oversight. The self-funded option I submit is also dangerously convenient to CalPERS. It means CalPERS is not subject to Department of Insurance regulation. Undoubtedly, the Department of Insurance would not have permitted the 900% premium increases that CalPERS has imposed. The Department of Insurance certainly has not approved such rate increases for any commercial carrier. As President Biden said recently during the State of the Union address, capitalism without competition is not capitalism, it's extortion, it's exploitation. Effectively, that's what we have with the CalPERS long-term care program. We have neither competition nor effective regulation, just extortion and exploitation. In just a few months, one of the largest class action lawsuits in U.S. history will go to trial in Los Angeles. CalPERS versus 80,000 or so of its long-term care policyholders, the remaining ones. CalPERS settling the suit now with policyholders on equitable terms is both necessary and the ethical thing to do. Then CalPERS must turn to the remainder of the long-term care mess. Until it's cleaned up, we aggrieved policyholders are not going away. And since I've got 42 seconds, thank you, permit me a personal comment. I wonder if any of you have spoken with a long-term care policyholder. It's heartbreaking to do so. I have spoken with nearly 100 policyholders who reached out to me for help after reading my articles about this long-term care CalPERS crisis. Each one believes that they have been cheated by CalPERS and that their financial and physical security during their final days has been stolen by CalPERS. As an 80-year-old policyholder wrote me just a few days ago, there is no escaping the conclusion that the people we have totally entrusted to look out for our interests have decided to ride it out, waiting for us to die. Thank you very much. Should I wait for questions, walk away?
No, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Grossman.
Thank you.
We have Susan Cohen and Al Darby up next. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My name is Susan Cohen. I'm a CalPERS retiree. I wanted to tell the board that in a recent clearing out of my garage, I located my initial sign-up documents for CalPERS long-term care. And I recall that day. I recall that meeting. There were two plans presented to staff, CalPERS and General Electric. That's what it was called at the time. After review, and I read every single word in those brochures, I chose CalPERS. Why? Because CalPERS has such a great reputation. Here I am, 21 years later, and I don't know how to say it any other way. I feel like my trust was hugely in error. I do understand why CalPERS kept the funds for the long-term care program in a separate, separated from CalPERS retiree funds. That makes total sense. That's good governance. However, the first rate increase that I really noticed, and there were little ones along the way, about 10 years ago or so, was 85%. And my financial advisor at the time said, I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. And frankly, what happened was I absorbed it. Now there's another rate increase of, 77%, and then if you compound things, okay, over 21 years, it's a 900% increase. I am lucky. I am one of the few retirees, I hope there are others, who went out shopping and found another policy. So I now have two long-term care policies. It's very expensive to have two long-term care policies. The reason I have two is because on the CalPERS long-term care settlement website, it doesn't say anything except you need to still be in the system to be part of any settlement we might come up with. It does not say you can't lower, or you should lower, you shouldn't lower. It's very unclear. At the last settlement that did not go through, my family was looking at $90,000. Now I'm in a quandary. I don't know what's going to happen. I did testify to the judge last fall. I am watching the clock very carefully. I did testify briefly, and I just said 9 years is a very long time. I was very nervous then. Now I'm more like, well, what's going on and what's going to happen? And is CalPERS going to treat its retirees who bought the program that CalPERS offered with the respect and dignity that they deserve? Thank you very much for your time and for listening so attentively. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Mr. Darby, would you like to come down?
Madam Chair, board members, Al Darby, Vice President, Retired Public Employees Association. I just want to make a quick comment about Mr. Anthony Sweeney. He has served us so well over the years in helping our members get their individual problems worked out, and I have to say that RPEA has great gratitude for all of the work that he did for us in the past. One other thing, he equally as helpful as Mr. Sweeney, Mr. Teicherts should also be recognized for his wonderful work in helping our members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darby. We appreciate it. We have one more public comment, and I believe that's on the phone. So, Mr. Teicherts?
Yes, good morning, Madam President. We have Cesar on the phone, and he has a translator that will open for us. So, John, go ahead, please.
Yes, hi, everyone. John Ocampo here. I'm a union organizer with the United Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers of America. I'm just here to serve as an interpreter for Cesar Moreira. He only speaks Spanish, so I'll pass it along to him, and then I'll interpret for him. Cesar.
Okay. Buenas tardes. Yo trabajo para la planta de refresco en Wharton, New Jersey, cuyo dueño es KKR, la empresa de capital privado en la cual CalPERS tiene inversiones. Realmente, pues nosotros estamos viviendo situaciones incómodas dentro de la planta, por cuanto han habido muchos accidentes de trabajo, en la cual hace un mes y medio hubo un compañero que se accidentó, cayó desde 10 metros de altura y gracias a Dios no falleció. Realmente las preocupaciones de los trabajadores en cuanto a la seguridad de cada uno de nosotros estamos realmente preocupantes en esta situación. Realmente lo que queremos es que yes.
Para traducir. So, my name is Cesar Moreira. I'm a worker at the Refresco Bottling Factory in Wharton, New Jersey, whose new owner now, as of last year, is KKR. And CalPERS is a significant investor in KKR. That's why we're speaking to you today. And we're going through a tough situation at the plant. It's very unsafe. We have abysmal working conditions. And about a month and a half ago, we had a coworker fall from a ladder at least 10 feet high, fall back from it, and could have died at the plant. And we're just in general suffering from poor and unsafe working conditions.
Realmente lo que queremos es que KKR tenga en manifiesto y ponga, realmente se siente a negociar, realmente por lo que realmente mucho de la planta entera está pidiendo, que son los horarios de trabajo 12 horas, muy cansado, muchos accidentes por la razón de los horarios, las altas salariales realmente aquí en Jersey es paupérrimo, realmente no alcanza para vivir con lo que paga KKR. El seguro médico, realmente hemos tenido muchos problemas en cuanto al seguro médico. Hay muchos hospitales en el área que no reciben el seguro médico por la cobertura que tiene el seguro que hay. Lo que queremos realmente los trabajadores en Wharton, New Jersey, es que realmente se sienten y negocien con nosotros de buena fe. So.
Translator? Or did we lose him? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you go.
Hello? Yeah, sorry. So it's basically we're in the midst of negotiating our first union contract at the plant, and there are three main issues that we would like some support on from investors in KKR since they own the workplace where I work at. One is the issue of schedules. So we've been obligated for over 2 years now to work 12-hour schedules, and it's leading to a lot of stress, fatigue, and injuries at the workplace. We also need pay increases. For where we live in New Jersey, our pay is, basically poverty wages are slightly above that. And also the medical benefits. Refresco provides us with some health insurance, but it's not accepted at any of the local hospitals. Coverage is very poor. The network is deficient. And so we need your support in order to get a first union contract that makes progress and will help improve our working conditions as I've just laid out here.
Okay, so do we have information, Mr. Takearts, on, we do have the information on the caller. Was that it, or was there more that he wanted to add?
César, ¿tiene algo más que agregar o no?
Ok, realmente lo que queremos nosotros, los trabajadores de refresco, es realmente como KKR es una compañía privada que tiene negocios a nivel mundial, así también como para ellos es un business lo que tienen aquí en Wharton, en New Jersey. También para nosotros los trabajadores también lo vemos de esta manera, porque nosotros vivimos de lo que hacemos ahí, y aparte de eso también tenemos nuestras cosas en lo que podamos hacer afuera. Pero para poder tener eso hay que tener un mejor salario, mejor calidad de trabajo dentro de la planta. Es lo que queremos los trabajadores de refresco en Wharton, New Jersey.
So just to add that, KKR it's a worldwide entity. It's got a lot of money. It now owns Refresco. And again, calling just to express the perspective of how workers see it from the level of the plant in New Jersey. All we do is we work and we live off the wages that are paid to us because of our work at that plant. So we would just appreciate any support that you can offer in terms of helping us obtain better pay, better benefits, and better working conditions overall. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have the name of the plans and the fund that's in and everything. Okay. If there's nothing else, we appreciate the call. And I have a comment from Mr. Rublikova. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to follow up on your comments and just want to make sure that staff follows up on the responsible contracting policy, make sure it's being abide by in this situation. And thank the speakers for their presentation, their comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. And I also want to make sure that we're following through to make sure they're abiding by the union contract and negotiations. So I do appreciate that as well. Anything else? Any other comments from anybody? All right. So with that, I appreciate all our hard work today. We are now going to adjourn and go into closed session for items 1 through 3 from the closed session agenda. This will include the following litigation matters: Wedding et al. Versus CalPERS and Louis versus CalPERS. And we will also receive the General Counsel's update on pending litigation. After the closed session, the board will reconvene in open session. So thank you all for coming today. We will see everyone next month. Meeting adjourned. That's right. We have to go pay that before we leave and take pictures. That's right. We have to go pay that before we leave. Let me know when everybody's on and video's on and everything. Thank you very much. Welcome back to open session. Appreciate it. This adjourns this month's Board of Administration and committee meetings. Thank you for joining us. We will see you all next month. We are adjourned.